Welcome to the Richmond Leadership Lab, featuring business and nonprofit leaders across Richmond, Virginia. Produced and hosted by Filmspire and BenX.
Welcome to episode 19 of Richmond Leadership Lab podcast. Taylor, how are you feeling today?
It's summertime. It's hot. Happy 250, America.
Yep.
I will say that. This is
a few days later.
Yeah, a few days past July 4th that we're recording this. So, 250. Though our guest was just in Paris, and that you can't even compare.
Speaking of France.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've been following the World Cup.
From a distance.
The U.S. men's national team, my heart broke.
Yeah.
I'm still not over it. It was 2 days ago, and by the time this podcast released, it'll be like 3 years from now. But It was just devastating.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to a game with my dad right before the World Cup started, actually, in Charlotte against Senegal. So the United States played Senegal, and me and Dad went, and my dad's a huge soccer fan, so we had a great time. But
that's awesome.
Heartbreaking, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Well, happy to be here.
Happy to be here. We got a great guest.
Yeah. I'm excited to introduce Mark Fonville. And Mark's the CEO of Covenant Wealth Advisors. Mark, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Christian. It's good to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're glad to have you, from office neighbors to on the podcast. And
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you just got done a trip. You were in France. You feel relaxed, rejuvenated, recharged?
For all of the, I guess, ridicule the French get for whatever reason, that is a phenomenal country. And we had a wonderful time, and it's clean. We felt safe. The level of history is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And, maybe one day we'll make it back.
Mm-hmm. Got to visit the hometown of your ancestors.
That's right.
Ancestors,
That's right.
Yes. That's amazing.
Funny. What'd you call it? What was the original last name?
So the original last name, I believe, was Fonville. So we went to the town of Fonville, France. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
I think we were the first guest they'd had in 100 years.
Amazing. Small town. Really small town.
Small town.
They were just waiting for you.
Yeah.
You finally arrived.
Yeah. We finally arrived.
It's like a time capsule.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like they open up 300 years later. It's like, there he is.
Did your whole family go? All the kids?
All five.
Everyone? That's awesome.
All five. Everyone soaked it in, and it was warm, but not excruciatingly hot like it is here in Richmond right now.
It's
and
like 140 degrees.
You get towards the coast. We headed that way. It was a little breezy, awesome weather, perfect. Just strolling around the town, walking around, relaxing.
Yeah.
Just the way I like it.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into Covenant Wealth Advisors and some leadership lessons and all that stuff. But first, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you, where you grew up, where you went to college, what got you into the industry, all that stuff.
Yeah, sure, Christian. So grew up in Richmond, Virginia. Was originally kind of on the eastern side of Goochland and moved into the west end of town, and was here pretty much my whole life. I went to different schools throughout, collegiate schools. I went to what is now Quioccasin Middle. And
is that how you pronounce it? I've never understood how to pronounce it.
It's Quioccasin, I believe. Yeah, I was Bird Middle back in the day, and then graduated from Freeman High School and went off to Virginia Tech to study finance and try to navigate where I was going to go for the rest of my life. So I was born and raised here, and then my wife Catherine is from a little town called Scottsville, Virginia, which is about 20 minutes south of Charlottesville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So so we met in college. She went to James Madison, and got graduated. And a few years later, got married, and here we are with 3 great kids, and trying to navigate life just like you guys.
Yeah. How'd you guys meet? Was it like at a college party? Was it, you said she went to a different college?
Yeah. So she was actually dating an extended friend of mine. And
nice.
Yeah, well, nice. Full disclosure is they hung out for one summer, and then she and I kind of stayed connected, but probably, 6 months, 12 months later, they had ended things a while back, and so we connected, and she needed a date for her sorority formal, and
amazing.
I think it was she instant messaged me on AOL.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
That's a good way to do it, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
What a world.
Wow.
What a world.
And you said yes, and rest is history.
Of course. Yeah.
So, college, you studied finance?
I did.
Okay. What was the interest behind that?
Yeah. So if you go back when I was a kid, my dad was an industrial engineer. So he worked for a plant here in Richmond, Virginia. Worked hard. If you've ever been in an industrial plant, they're dangerous, they're hot, but he did that a very long time. But on the side, he liked trading stocks. And so when I was about 10 years old, he gave me a book called Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, which is a crazy title and probably not terribly appealing to a 10-year-old.
10-year-old. Some light reading.
Yeah, some light
For a
reading.
fourth grader, you know?
Yeah, a little odd. But I read it, and basically it was this thinly disguised biography about an infamous trader named Jesse Livermore. So if you read anything about the Great Depression, Jesse Livermore was basically a speculator. And the storyline goes from when he's a kid all the way through kind of his life on Wall Street. And it was just very fascinating to me. And so that got me really interested in this idea that, gosh, you could, you earn some money, you can stash it away and maybe do something with it later on. Yeah. And so, Dad and I kind of created this neat bond and relationship on learning about the stock market. And then he'd given me a few $1,000s to trade. And I remember just, every morning during the weekday running down the driveway, getting the Wall Street Journal first thing, reading it with them, and picking stocks. And that, I did that for, pretty much through college.
Wow.
Wow.
So that's kind of where it started.
Did you make any money, or was it just?
You know what? That is another part of the story. But basically, at $3,000, that's what he gave me. By the time I was in college, I'd built that up to around $90,000, almost $100,000. Okay, so I thought I knew everything.
And you had the self-control in college to not pull some of that out?
Well, let me finish the story.
Okay.
Thanks for teeing that one up there, Christian. Sorry. So, this was the tech boom, all right? And so the tech boom, what stocks were going up in the 1990s?
Tech.
That and all of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's booming.
You would have to have the worst luck in the world to choose a stock that was going down, okay? But I didn't really realize that. I thought I actually knew what I was doing. And, my account's going up. I remember sometimes I'd come back from class and my account's up $10,000, And you're thinking, college student, right? I didn't have a job at the time. And, trading is very addictive. There's a book called Your Money in Your Brain by Jason Zweig. Jason Zweig is a columnist for the Wall Street Journal.
Okay.
And he wrote this book. It's phenomenal. But what he talks about is the brain makeup for, if I remember correctly, it's 3 different classes of folks. It's compulsive gamblers, cocaine addicts, and traders.
What a bunch.
Yeah. Well,
quite a bunch. When you put them together.
Once.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, imagine. And so they looked at the brain chemistry and the dopamine for these 3 subsets of people. And you can't distinguish them apart.
That's amazing.
Right? And so the trading is very addictive. And so if you've ever traded stocks or you watch CNBC, the idea, the allure of just buying and getting it out and whatnot. I mean, there's a physiological
hit,
kind of idea behind that. And I was definitely addicted to the trading. Well, with any addiction, the crash comes. And, the crash for me, luckily, wasn't drug addiction, but it was the tech crash.
Wow.
In a matter of really months, I mean, I lost almost everything. And so that was a really pivotal time, to first step back and just think that I had a lot more to learn. And I didn't, probably the biggest blessing was I didn't have a family at the time. So I lost it all when it sounds like a lot of money, but it wasn't near what it could have been, you know, with kids and family and all that. And so I just looked at that and I just, you know, I kind of made a decision like, I really want to learn as much as I can so this never happens again. And that was kind of another pivotal moment, you know, that steered me, you know, in the direction of finance, personal finance.
When you graduated, I guess, did you get like a personal finance job, or what was like that first job or two after college?
Yeah, so it was to be a financial advisor.
Yeah.
You know, I worked at American Express at the time, now Ameriprise. And I got the job. I was there for about 2 years, and I learned a ton. I mean, they put you through the grinder. I mean, the cold calls were the worst. You know, can you imagine? Just like making
50 a day or whatever.
Yeah, 50 a day, and like at night, and oh man. But it really gets you to think about, you know, the issues facing people, the questions to ask, you know, really find out like where are these pain points and where can you help. So that was critical. And they also did a good job on what we call comprehensive financial planning. So it wasn't necessarily just, you know, just selling an investment product. It was, you know, creating a plan, implementing that plan with assorted, you know, investment options and insurances and things like that. So that's where it all started.
Here in Richmond?
Here in Richmond, yeah.
Nice.
West Air Parkway.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
All roads lead home.
All roads lead home.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And then when did you get married, and kind of what was your wife's kind of career and path and things like that?
So let me look at the inside of my wedding ring right now, because I think she engraved it in there. But pretty sure we got married in 2004.
Yeah.
And you know, she went to James Madison. She moved to Richmond.
Yeah.
One of her first jobs, and this goes out to anybody, you know, is she got a part-time gig, a temp gig, I think at Bank of America, and worked with one of the executives there to kind of just be an assistant, you know, out of college. Well, that was a great position to have because she met a lot of different people, and it turned out he helped her or served as a reference for her to get into the bank. So she became a personal banker on that side, and kind of, so we were a little bit, you know, on the same side of the, or within the same industry, you know, from the get-go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing.
And then fast forward now, and you guys work together.
Yeah, we work together. I mean, you know, it's been a great ride. I mean, I think a lot of folks who work with their spouses, you know, that it's an interesting dynamic. It can work incredibly well or not well. For us, it's worked amazingly well. I think we know kind of what our responsibilities are, you know, across the company. You know, I know where I need her most, and I just let her run with it, and vice versa. But she's the reason we're here. I mean, she started the company.
Yeah. I was going to ask, because she started 2010.
Yep.
Somewhere around there.
Cool.
So after, you know, a few years after you guys get married, a few years, I guess both her really in the banking world, you in the finance world, and she came up with the idea of Covenant Wealth Advisors, or was it a different name at the time? Yeah,
so a great question. It was a different name, and she started in 2010, and it was Fonville Wealth Management, and it was that way until 2018. So for 8 years, you know, she'd built it out, and interestingly, you know, she started it. Our firstborn was in 2007, and then our secondborn was 2009.
Wow!
So it's like you know, you have a couple kids, why not start a business too?
Yeah, under 3 too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because starting a business is not hard enough.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
No.
And toddlers are easy, right? Yeah. Exactly.
And so how long was it just her? Did you join at the beginning too, or walk me through that dynamic?
Yeah, sure. So about that time, she and I both ended up at Wachovia Securities. She was working in the financial planning team. So she was training the firm's 15,000 brokers or so, kind of how to use financial planning and integrate that into their business. And so I was with the team. I since American Express, I went to Wachovia. I was still in banking, and I had and maybe we'll hit this. It was a pivotal moment in my career to make a decision to continue with banking or go back on the security side, the investment side. So I ended up going over to Wachovia Securities, and there's a team called National Sales. met some amazing people. I'm friends with a lot of them today. It was a crazy time. But national sales was all about like educating the firm's advisors on 3 critical areas, like, again, financial planning, this idea of like fee-based investment advisory, trying to move away from this commission culture that the industry was kind of built on. And then the third was kind of integrating like lending options with the clientele. And so when Danny Ludeman announced to Richmond that we were closing up shop, Wachovia Securities shutting down, moving to St. Louis, Catherine and I were going to move. I mean, we didn't really think otherwise. And it turns out there was a company out on the West Coast that ended up reaching out to me through someone I knew, a company called Loring Ward, and they're what's called a third party asset management provider, or what we call a TAMP. So they manage money for financial advisors. Okay, so I ended up meeting fella Randy Hardy. He flew into Richmond. I took the job, and the position was being a relationship manager for the southeastern U.S. for all of the financial advisors who work with the company in the southeast. That was an amazing. For the next 11 years, that's what I did, and so I learned so much, about the underpinnings of finance, like what really drives markets, what really drives portfolio management, practice management for these advisors that we were working with. I mean, it was just a petri dish for learning. I mean, it was wonderful. The leadership was incredible. I mean, what they did, they invested in their team. They invested in, our evolution within the company and our career tracks. And they just hired really good people, and they didn't stand for bad people. Like they wouldn't put up with that. So that went on for 11 years, and then we came to another pivotal moment where we had a company that came up, another investment advisory firm that came up for sale in Williamsburg, Virginia, and we saw it online, and I'll kind of pause there, but that's when Catherine and I started taking a critical look at it and thinking maybe we should reach out.
Yeah.
Wow.
So. And was that 2010, or was this after she started already?
Yeah, that was after she started. So
okay.
Like she started in 2010. I worked with Loring Ward from like, I want to say beginning of 2000, end of 2007, beginning of 2008, all the way to 2018.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So in 2017 is when we saw this company go up for sale.
Yeah.
And, it was very interesting because I told my boss at Loring Ward when I was being serious about it. And I said, hey, look, there's a chance I might be leaving the company. And what was great is I just felt that comfortable to tell him. And this was a year before.
Wow.
And that they helped me. They gave me their blessings. They helped me transition. It was a really incredible experience. I still have relationships with a lot of leadership that was there. That the firm was bought and moved on to something else.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how that worked.
Amazing.
So in 2017, you all saw this investment firm for sale. She was already running the practice for 7 years, give or take. That was the time where you joined as well. Once you acquired the new firm.
Yeah, exactly. Because Catherine had reached out to this advisor who was selling his business in 2017, and we basically dated for a year, this advisor, and getting to know his wonderful wife and the team, and just making sure it's a good fit. I mean, it's a substantial next chapter for him, and he wanted his legacy to be solidified, and it was a substantial monetary investment for us. And so we went a year. I think I remember Rob, who sold us the business, was talking to us, and I think 100 advisors reached out to him. Maybe 50 were qualified to buy it, 25 were serious, and then we ended up buying it, and our company was like 1/6 the size. So we bought a company that was probably 6 times larger than we were.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
interesting. Walk me through that process.
Yeah.
So you bought a company that's obviously, because how many employees did you all have at the time? Like
It was just Catherine.
Just Catherine at the time. And this company probably had 5, 7, 9 employees.
Yeah, so when I came on board, and then there were 2 employees that were retained
Okay.
That Rob wanted to retain. Rob was exiting, so there were basically three of them.
Okay, gotcha.
Got it.
And so Rob Smith and then Terry Miller, who still works on our team. She is an amazing contributor. We couldn't have done it without her. We couldn't have done it without Rob Smith. Rob Smith retired. He's an amazing individual, and I wish he was still here, but he's in the next chapter, and we still have a good relationship. But we looked at the deal, and the key thing is, does the cash flow work?
Mm-hmm.
And can we retain the clients? And so we hired a company that specializes in mergers and acquisitions for registered investment advisory firms, financial advisors. That's all they do. So I hired them as a consultant to come in and look at the books and the cash flow projections, and basically have them tell me, like, what's the maximum price we should pay for this company? And once we knew that, then we need to figure out how to finance it.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to get a loan. It was huge. It was the most debt I've ever taken out.
What'd that feel like?
It was scary. It was scary, but the experience that I had at Loring Ward, and basically just advising all these other firms on practice management, on investment management. I mean, I was ready, and I had the confidence to go do it, but it was scary. I mean, you're putting your whole financial life on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And all the eggs in one basket, if you will.
Basically everything, and
let's hope this works.
Yeah, and the thing is, we got the loan, we were approved, we did the transaction, and I think within 12 months we lost one of our biggest clients.
Oh.
And you're thinking, like, oh my gosh, we can't have much more of this. Well, long story short, our retention rate was something like 97% on clients, so it ended up really good. But that beginning, retaining the clients, retaining your employees, those two were critical. And we had a game plan. I can go through that, but here we are now.
Wow.
What were a couple things? Have you guys done another acquisition since then, or is this the only one you've done?
We've done some small ones.
Okay.
So we, when Scott Hurt joined our team, he is one of our lead advisors, phenomenal. He had some clients that he worked with at his prior firm, and we ended up having to buy those from the other firm. Mm-hmm. That was really small.
But not like another whole practice or anything like that.
Yeah, the only thing that we did, we merged our partner. We have two new partners who joined us January 1st, 2025. Cool. Mm-hmm. So that was just kind of a strategic move to add more partners. In the event something happens to me, like we want the continuity within the company.
Going. Yeah.
Give us, I don't think we've done this, but just give me the 10,000-foot view on Covenant Wealth Advisors and things like that. Your mission, who you are, who you serve, things like that. Yeah.
Our mission is to help individuals retire with peace of mind through clarity, insight, and partnership. And today we've got in excess of 550 families that we serve here in Virginia, but also across the United States. Easily over 20 states. We manage just over $1 billion in investments for our clients. I think the biggest reason folks reach out to us, it's folks who are over the age of 50. They've got somewhere generally between $1 million to $10 million. Some certainly have more. Very few have less, unless it's the kids of clients that we work with. But they're just concerned about retirement. They're thinking, like, do I have enough money? And then the funny thing is, like, they're asking, like, give me the confidence to spend my money. Mm-hmm. Because we spend our whole lives kind of saving and putting it away. Yeah. And I think getting to the point of where you're reversing all the habits that you had your entire life to start enjoying is very difficult. Yeah. It's one of the hardest things that we help them face. And so it's these folks that reach out to us and they really want that guidance. And so they'll come in. A lot of times it's, all right, well, I want a plan. Well, they realize it's like, it's not just investments. Like, you got to fully integrate tax planning and investment planning and retirement income planning. And you have to integrate that and overlay it. And that's really the best plan. Mm-hmm. And like what we found is just too many folks run those in silos. And then they're throwing more money at the IRS than they should be. They may not be maximizing the income that they're entitled to have a wonderful life in retirement. And really, that's what we're known for. And that, I think, from the get-go, that's really what we focused on, was we wanted to really specialize in helping folks retire, because that's a critical time that's very different from someone who's in their 20s or 30s. You know, it's just different time of life, different strategies, and different things to consider.
Yeah, that's a good point you make. I guess I've never really thought of it like that. A lot of, I would imagine, what you all do is more psychological than it is finance-driven. I would imagine there's a lot of, obviously, investments and tax planning, all that stuff, but it's, like you said, reversing their mindset a little bit of like, hey, you can spend some money here.
Yeah. I think I think in the beginning of the relationship, a lot of it's a bit more left brain, so the mathematical side, like finding out the numbers. Mm-hmm. It's like, can I do this? Like, do I have the capacity to? But as that trust kind of builds, right, it really is about the psychological side of, that trust builds and is rooted. And then it's really just about, the more right brain things. Like, there's nothing more better than telling someone, like, you need to go first class to Europe and stop sitting in the cheap seats. Like, just do it, right? Yeah. I've never talked to anyone who's retired who paid for that ticket and say, gosh, I wish I didn't have that seat on the plane. Yeah. Like,
or experiences too. Man, I wish I didn't take that trip.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's
so
awesome.
You guys have been in business now for, I guess, 16 years in total.
Yeah.
And 15 employees, 17 employees today?
Yeah. I think we're up to 14, 15 team members right now.
Gotcha. Nice.
Yeah,
that's a big swing from 2018, I guess, when you officially bought the firm, because it was just your wife at the time.
Yes,
and then obviously now there's 14 or 15. I was curious on the acquisition side, and I think this will dive into growth a little bit more too. Obviously, with taking on a risk and taking on some of that magnitude, what's like one or two things that you all did right in that time, and one or two things, with hindsight being 2020, you're like, hey, if we ever did a bigger acquisition again, we'd want to make sure to do X and Y.
Yeah. Well, I think in the early days, what we did right was, like, we created a game plan for implementation of the acquisition of the business, and we stuck to it. There's going to be distractions like every day, so it's easy to get thrown off. Maybe I should do this, and questioning yourself. But I mean, the three critical areas we focused on. Year one was client retention. Year two was technology overhaul, and year three was growth and marketing. And that's exactly what we did. And if you and it took about that amount of time. If you look at the trajectory of flows of business coming into the firm, it was fairly flat, like those first couple of years. And I mean, by design, that's kind of how we structured it. And then once we got everything in place, obviously retaining employees too was critical. So that would go with retaining clients, right, in that first year. Once we got to the part of growing, it was, okay, let's build out our brand. Like, what do we want to do when we grow up? Who are we? And really start educating our potential client base and our client base as much as possible about what we do, but what is possible for them. And so we dove in, just into blogs. I think we started with one a week, and we've been doing it since. Writing articles with SEO algorithms has really changed in the last 6 months.
Totally.
But we still do it. It's still critical to what we do. But also in terms of really honing in on, like, our target market and the folks that we're working with was critical. So those three things, I think, were paramount to the success. Looking back, things I would change, like, I think I would have hired earlier someone to fully do our compliance. So we're in a highly regulated industry,
right.
And there's only so much profit margin to go around, but you want to be compliant and do everything the right way. And so when an audit comes through, you need to be ready for it. And so when the first auditor came through, I was doing it on my own, and that's really stressful time. You do everything, you want to do everything right, but there's so many rules and regulations. It makes it very difficult. And so I probably would have hired sooner. Since then we've hired a whole team for compliance, and we've got that squared away, and we feel really good about it. But I think like in looking back, it's those types of things that like nag at you. When it's like something keeps on entering your mind. You're like, you need to address it. And
just gotta push it off a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's like just tackle those things. Like if they're lingering in my head longer than a few different times, it's like, okay, I need to knock this one out.
Yeah.
We'll be right back after this short message.
Are employee benefits a headache for your company? At BenX, we simplify benefits so you can focus on growing your business. From custom benefit solutions to cutting-edge technology, we make it easy for companies to take care of their teams. Visit BenXConsulting.com to see how we can simplify benefits for your growing company.
Your story is powerful, but is it reaching the right audience? At Filmspire, we create compelling videos and provide marketing strategies to make sure they drive real results. From crafting your message to amplifying it, we help you connect with your audience like never before. Ready to inspire? Let's tell your story. And now, back to the show.
Yeah.
What was the process like for, building a team? Because it's, you and your wife, and now it's others basically and things like that, and then bringing on new staff. Like, how do you work to kind of build the culture at the firm and things like that to make sure everyone feels cohesive? You guys get along, have a shared, mission, vision, values, things like that. What's that kind of culture piece look like for you guys?
Yeah. Well, culture is paramount.
Yeah.
And I always tell clients coming on board, that, clients are not number one in our company, in our model. Our team is. Clients come second. And it's so critical because, we've got amazing people and we want to retain them. And keeping them motivated and focused on the future and their career tracks, which we've built out, which I'll talk about, is everything. And if they're happy and they feel balance in their lives between work and home and family, they're going to do a way better job for our clients. And the feedback I've gotten from clients is like they like that. Like that's what they want. We have on our website that we don't work on weekends. I don't want anyone on the team working on the weekend.
Yeah.
Spend it with your family or friends. Like that's what it's there for. So that's super critical. But we ended up hiring a consultant several years ago within the industry. You can throw a lot of money away, at consultants. They probably get the brunt of a lot of jokes. But the truth is, that was really helpful to give us guidance on the things we wanted to accomplish. One of those was making sure we were tiring our firm values, which we've got. It's integrity, it's friends and family, it's pursuing excellence, in what you do, and it's several others. But tying that to actually how we hire and how we fire, it's building out career tracks for the team. We might do $8 million in revenue this year, and from my understanding, for a company of our size, almost never has career tracks built out. You can get to companies that have 20, 30, 50 million, they don't have career tracks built out. And I'll say even the company I was with before, they didn't have career tracks built out. It wasn't clear. So it was really important to us to if someone's coming to our company, I want them to have an idea of where they can go. Doesn't mean they will go there.
Yeah.
But at least they have transparency and here's the career track, here's what it takes to get through each one of these levels. And as it turns out, that's what folks want. And that's so many folks we've talked to, team members, before they came on was, I didn't know what the next step was. I don't know if, if I can get to this part of the company. I don't know what I need to do to get there. My bosses haven't talked to me about that, right? Or the leadership. And so that was critical. So we put career tracks in place for the entire company. Everyone knows what the career tracks are. If you want to be in operations, it's great. If you start in operations and you want to go over to advisory side and deal with clients, awesome. Here's what that takes and here's what you need to do. So we're, I think just very open to listening to the team members. It's like right seat, right bus. Well, first, are they on the right bus? Are they with the right company? Mm-hmm. But then it's like they might come on the right bus, but they're just in the wrong seat, and that's okay. We're fine with that. I want to listen to the team members and figure out where they are and figure out what their strengths are and really put them where they need to be. Mm-hmm. So that the culture, I think, it just comes back to listening to what they deserve and need, what the team needs. It's I tell everyone who comes on board, it's like we want to hire people who can self-manage. It doesn't mean we won't give you guidance. It doesn't mean you can't come to us, but you need to have you need to be proactive. Mm-hmm. You need to be able to think of the next task, anticipate rather than sitting around waiting for it to happen. Like, that's the mentality we want. Mm-hmm. But I think those values, I think the career tracks help sets it. I think the family, those three are really quite critical to kind of building a great team that's happy.
Yeah, It's amazing too. And we work with a ton of different companies and a lot of different industries at BenX, and obviously benefits ties into culture a lot of times. So we get a really cool view in a lot of different organizations, and it's amazing the organizations that just listen to what their employees want.
Yeah.
And then do it.
Yep.
It's amazing their culture versus, another company that maybe half listens or maybe overpromises, right? And underdelivers, or maybe doesn't have a career track or growth track or next step, and people feel stagnant, right? Yeah. It really is amazing. I mean, whether a company has 7 employees or 70, right? Or 150. It's just like, if you can just, and same with benefits, if you can just listen to what they want. Don't just design it from a 10,000 point view, but listen to what your actual employees and the people you want to hire want, and then design it from there. It's amazing the difference. It really is.
Yeah, it is, and you'll get so much. The ideas that will come from the team, if they feel comfortable sharing, you create this environment of them sharing. Like, that's really what we want, I think, at Covenant, right? And for them to feel empowered to kind of push back. I remember talking to the CEO of our old company. I was having a beer with him, and I asked him, "What's the hardest thing that you do, or hardest thing that you encounter?" And he said, "It's finding people who'll tell me the truth." Mm. And so we really encourage. It's like I love hearing things that need improvement in the company. But come to me with an idea, not just the problem.
Mm-hmm. Solution.
Yeah.
A couple solutions to the problem.
That's amazing. Yeah. What does what's kind of like this year been like and things like that? Your goals for this year, and what kind of like looking into. We're halfway through this year. What's kind of like next year looking like in terms of for the firm? Yeah.
Good question, Taylor. I think we're still trying to figure out next year. Yeah. I mean, we're at a pivotal moment in the company because it's where hiring really accelerates. Mm. You go from hiring a team member or 2 a year to now you might be hiring 3 or 4 or 5 team members. And so right now, I think it's really critical to figure out who's on the teams, who's running them, what their roles and responsibilities are, and what their gaps are. So right now, we've got so much demand for our business. Like, I never thought I'd have that problem. Mm-hmm. But it's what does that mean? Well, it means that we need advisors who are super competent from a planning perspective to meet with all the families that are reaching out to us. Mm-hmm. So it's finding really qualified advisors, and it's very difficult to do that. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. So if anyone who's listening who's younger, go into the financial planning profession, get your certified financial planner designation. There's a huge demand for really smart people. So it's finding those folks. We just hired an amazing guy up in Boston. I've known him a long time. And so we're really happy to have Eric. So he's filling a void, but we just got so much coming in. So I think it's that. It's getting operations just dialed in. So we want redundancy in the company. And that's one thing that I've really started to focus on is like, we need this redundancy. So when someone falls, they're sick or they're out because they're having a baby, or whatever reason it might be. We just need redundancy. So it's figuring out what those redundancies are so we can hire for it. Mm-hmm. So my focus is, continue this growth, make sure those, families still want to reach out to us, but it's also make sure the wheels don't fall off. And so we've got, just an amazing servicing team in place. So we'll have 3 positions by the end of this week posted. And it's making sure, you just got those right people in place so we can continue that growth. I mean, a lot of people look from the outside, it's like, wow, like Covenant's growing so fast. But they don't realize like how much it takes internally to make sure you're managing that growth prudently, so the existing clients aren't being sacrificed from a service perspective.
Yeah, because I see that sometimes when a company's growing, it's like that's great, but sometimes the clients get left behind, or systems get left behind, or operations get. And growth is not just this like it's 100% perfect, it's all good, right? There's obviously drawbacks and things you have to figure out. One of the things I wanted to ask you, obviously, we're talking about focus. 2017, 2018, you joined the firm. What was your day-to-day like and the focus like during that time? And how has it evolved over the last, 7-8 years to today?
Yeah, Christian, it's very different. In 2018, so come on board, Catherine had done an amazing job building up the infrastructure of the company, really. And so it was kind of all hands on deck. We got some help at home with the kids, and it was really, quite frankly, it was very task-oriented, because we're all doing the heavy lifting. Mm-hmm. So from trades to building out the financial plans to meeting with the clients, we had a vision and we had a strategy, but I'm getting sucked into all the tasks. Not all of them, but a lot of them, right? Luckily, we had 2 other, Rob and Terry, who were amazing and picked that up. So it was very task-oriented. Now, my focus is freeing up my calendar so I have time to think. And I always wondered, like, what do leaders do? Like, what are they doing? What are they doing? Yeah. And now I understand, because we have to think about our hiring. We have to think about our service standards. We have to think about appropriate compensation. We have to think about these things. And so now it's more getting white space on my calendar, being able to think through these critical areas so our team can have an amazing experience, so our clients can have an amazing experience. Every time I think about doing something myself, I have to remind myself who on the team can actually do this. And if we don't have somebody, who should we hire? Mm-hmm. Whereas before it was I would just tackle it and get it done on my own. And so I think that's the critical distinction between 2018 and in 2026.
How often do you still have to fight that?
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Delegation is not something that comes natural to me.
Yeah.
I like getting into the details of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's prohibitive to growth.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the best leaders, look at Elon Musk. You think about how is someone managing one company? Well, how is he managing multiple companies? Because he's an amazing delegator. He finds the right people. And there are a lot of books on the topic, but it's a constant reminder, who should be doing this, not how I should be doing it.
Yeah. That's really good. What does your wife what's her role look like these days now? And kind of like how early on what was that splitting like the workload and things like that in the early days? And what is she doing now?
Well, so Catherine still has families that she meets with. Yep. She is an advisor. She does a lot of our HR work, special projects for the company. Yep. She's my chief psychologist when I come home and, have things to, struggles of growing the company. She's really good as a sounding board, phenomenal. She's really good at identifying. She's a great judge of character and people. I always try to get her to meet with folks that we hire. I tend to like everyone. There are few people I dislike, but she comes in and fills that void. Nice. And she's wonderful, but she can identify things like, here's why.
Character and different, yeah.
So today, we've got 3 kids, so she's taken a little bit of step back. Yeah. She's not working 40 hours a week, to help raise our kids so we don't, end up with a family of wolves here, wild wolves, but so far so good.
It's an important job. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there like specific boundaries that you guys set? Because we have some clients, for example, and friends that work with their spouses, right? And I know one of them does like, hey, we don't talk about work at dinner, and maybe we don't talk about work on a Saturday. Or is there anything you guys have figured out rhythm-wise, or maybe it's not structured, or maybe it's more of a rhythm that you're like, hey, we do this or we don't do this?
From a family perspective?
Or just like work-life balance, or yeah.
Some folks are really good at that.
Yeah.
I mean, I really love what I do. Yeah. And so I work all the time, even when I'm not at work. I'm thinking about it. I always have 1,000 ideas. But, I think we, at the dinner table, we always try to sit down for dinner together as a family. Mm-hmm. We always try to talk about what good happened in the day. So we'll go around the table. We'll have that conversation, as much as we can. I'll talk about work with the kids pretty frequently. I think it's, quite frankly, I think it's a gift. I wish my dad was an amazing father in so many ways. I wish he'd talked to me more about what he did when he was running the plant. I wish he'd talked to me about the challenges he encountered, how he managed situations. That would have been critical and helpful. Yeah. And so I think it's really, I have all this experience and exposure to different things that I can teach my kids. And I think I like to think they enjoy those conversations. I'll bring the kids before school to Starbucks in the morning on Fridays. We'll probably do every other Friday. And sometimes those topics come up. Sometimes it's boyfriends. Sometimes it's, whatever.
Yeah. So, have you been able to pass down that financial knowledge like your dad did for you, basically? Like, what does conversations about finance look like in your household with?
Are they up to 100K in the trading account yet?
Yeah, exactly.
My kids are a lot smarter than I was, and they're very well diversified. So all three have investment accounts.
Cool.
My oldest, actually today I'm supposed to call her right after this. She had a custodian account, which is an account you have when you're under the age of 18. We're going to open up her brokerage account, move the investments over. She's fully diversified, invests in index funds. She's already ahead of the game there. But, I talked to them about that. I showed them the power of compounding, what it means. I had a conversation with my 10-year-old a couple of weeks ago about probably the most important concept, I think, in building wealth, which is this idea of pay yourself first. And we live in a consumption society in America, and it's always everyone pays everyone else first. Like you get paid, and the first thing you do is you go
pay bills or pay whatever.
Yeah, bills or whatever. It's like pay yourself first. Squirrel that money away so you don't even see it. And so we had that conversation, and it seemed to resonate. I mean, he's like, I get it.
10 seems to be a big age in the Fonville household.
It's a big age.
Once you hit 10, that's kind of
that's when the game on.
Downside.
Yeah, that's right.
You're about to be on your own.
Exactly. You're finding some consistencies here.
Yeah. That's amazing.
What are a couple things, obviously leadership podcast, what are just being a leader, right? Obviously the last 8 years in particular, and now being a leader of, multiple people. What are a couple things you've learned over the last few years that, maybe books don't tell you or maybe podcasts don't tell you, like the day-to-day, what are a couple things, leading people that you've learned? Like I heard a great quote the other day. One of the reasons I'm asking this is John Maxwell said, no leader has 2 good days in a row. Yeah. And I was like, that's an interesting quote.
That is interesting.
I think he just says that to kind of reset some expectations sometimes.
Right.
Like leadership's kind of a pie in the sky thing. But anyway, I'm curious to hear.
That's a fair statement for
thoughts.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one is learning how to be direct but professional. And my wife is really good at that. I've had conversations with her about that. And I'm kind of I think any good advisor is a pleaser. You want to help people. And so, when I started the company, that's kind of who I am by nature. And so, you don't, that type of personality, you want to really keep balance. And so it was kind of hard for me to be really direct on instruction and here's what needs to happen. But I think it's so critical and it's so helpful to the team members because they know what you're actually asking them. You know.
Yeah, just get it done.
Yeah.
Hey, just do a good job here.
Yeah.
Like,
well, do the best you can.
Yeah.
And you know, I've certainly been guilty of that. So I think that's critical. The second would be delegation, but not just for me, but for any member of the team. You know, if it's not your expertise in the company, find someone who can do it. Don't feel like you have to take everything on. I think meeting with folks on a regular basis is really helpful. You know, we've probably many of us have been in the companies where it's like the annual review in January is coming up, and you're thinking, oh my. Yeah. First of all, the managers don't want to do it.
Yeah.
None of them do. And neither do the employees. You know, everyone is just like, you know, just on edge.
Yeah.
You don't want to go in there. And so I think what we've learned is just have regular conversations with the team throughout the year. We try to do it quarterly, call them quarterly conversations, and just sitting down with them. It might, you know, might take them to lunch, might hop on Zoom. And it's just really, hey, how are things going? What's working? What's not working? What do you want to accomplish this quarter? How can I help you? What can the company do for you? You know, so I think those conversations are critical. Waiting too long, things start to... You can start to create ideas in your mind that aren't reality.
Yeah.
Right?
And a year's a long time, especially in a small company. A lot of things change in a year.
Yeah.
We do quarterly alignment meetings.
You do? Okay.
And so we just implemented them 6 months ago, I think. Maybe not even. But I forgot where I even got the idea, or maybe a friend of mine or something. But it's not performance reviews, and it's nothing like that. It's literally just like, here's kind of our BenX way, right? The BenX standard.
Yep.
Here's the alignment. But also like hearing from them like what's working well in that quarter, what's not working well in that quarter. You know, kind of sounds like some of your conversations.
Yeah.
But that's been really helpful.
And when did that start?
Like 6 months ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Just getting everyone on the same page and making sure. I feel like, you know, creating an environment where hopefully they feel comfortable enough to, you know, to say what they want to say.
Well, that's right. And I mean, you think of it like a you know, in marriage, you hit really good times and bad times. You don't wait till the end of the year to have that big discussion.
Yeah, exactly. Let it all build up.
It's December.
Let's go through the personal finances.
Go to Charlottesville and talk about it.
Exactly.
Golly, that's amazing. Man, this has been great.
Yeah. How? Just kind of random question. How often do you and your wife discuss finances? Since you run a finance company.
Question. Oh gosh,
right? So,
Christian, you had to ask.
He's once every other year.
Yeah.
You know, we
every January.
I'm big picture, and Catherine's the day-to-day. So she handles you know, the checking account, credit card, and then I handle more of the big plan and the savings side. So it's usually when we just went on a nice vacation and you're like, wait a second, we can't do that anymore. We got to back up. But probably like any family, you know.
Yeah.
We do a financial plan. We update our financial plan at least twice a year. We recommend, you know, our clients do that. It's super helpful. It gets us on the same page. We both agree with it, you know, so it gives us more of our, like, here are the things we want to accomplish. What time frame? How much should we be putting away? You know, right now, big ones coming up, or you know, oldest is going off to college. So you know, thinking through those things. So I think the big conversations at least twice a year, but certainly there's always the you know, you go through those months of big expenditures you don't think. So
yeah. Well, I have two final questions, and Taylor, if you want to wrap up with anything, and then we get to some fun stuff too.
Sure.
Food and restaurants and all that fun stuff. One is a leadership or kind of personal question. One's just a finance question. So since we're talking about finance, we'll do that, and then we'll end with kind of a leadership question. But there's, you know, this show is catered towards, you know, business owners, entrepreneurs, CEOs, you know, and a lot of that demographic that listens to the show. In terms of free advice, right? In terms of a lot of executives and business owners watching this show, because you deal with it, you know, every day as far as like leading these people financially, right? In a plan. What are maybe one or two things, quick things that maybe they should watch out for or look for or not do? You can kind of take any direction you want, but a couple pieces of advice you would tell other CEOs, business owners, entrepreneurs listen to the show.
Yeah. Well, I think as a business owner, a lot of times we think the company is our bank account. And so, getting a handle on the structure of the accounts and the cash flows behind the scenes is really critical. So, depending upon the size of business, if you're over 10 employees, you're likely paying yourself a salary. But you might be taking distributions from the company. Well, those distributions, are those part of what you need? Are you just tapping those distributions whenever you need it for your family? I'd say try to change that and start making things automatic. So at Covenant, what we do, we have an account for different things within the company. So we have our operating account. We have our cash reserves account, right? We have our partner distributions account. So we have these different accounts. As soon as billings come in, revenue, we divvy out the money across the different accounts. So then we know it's accounted for. At least with us, it's 4 months of expenses built up in the cash reserve account, right? So it's like, how much cash do I need on hand? Well, we completely remove that from the operating account. So then once you're at that target for the reserves account, you don't have to be, you don't have to wonder, do I have enough on hand? Anything above and beyond that, you can go ahead and distribute to the owners, right? And so then from there, it's, well, make it automatic. So we do have it automatic. Every month we have distributions going out. We have every month we have money going into the cash reserve. As your revenues grow, that cash reserve needs to continue to grow. So you need to make sure you're accounting for that. So I think dividing up the accounts that you have is super important. It makes it much more organized. The second thing is then figuring out how much money, make it automatic transferring into your personal side. And then how are you allocating that? So make a decision beforehand. So remember, I said pay yourself first. Like allocate that outside of your 401k to other things to the extent cash flow will allow, right? And so it may be building up your own personal cash reserve outside of the business. It might be you have a pot for your travel and vacations. It may be a pot for just taxable brokerage account, which is taxed differently than your 401k account, right? And so I think if you set that structure up, you automate it. The instant you have to start thinking about those things, you're already behind. Because your behavior is going to come into play. It's going to work against you. And so that's a lot of the business owners we work with. It's just getting that structure in place. And then from there, it's kind of building out more long-term projections. Hey, how much would I need to sell the company for? X. Well, what does that mean? I need X dollars of revenues, right? Well, what's the multiple on that revenue to sell it for the price that I need? And do you want to retire at 50 or 55 or 60 or 65? So that's kind of the sequence of events that I would recommend. I think that's critical to having balance in your life, not having to worry too much about the finances, and allow you to focus more on what's critical to the business, which is just growing it.
Yeah. It's a great answer.
That's great. It's great.
So last question we like to ask our guests before we get into some fun stuff is, and it's probably my favorite question to ask too. If you were in the same room as Mark Fonville from 2017, right? And you only got 2 minutes with him, right? Not the whole day. You can't take him to lunch. You only have 2 minutes with 2017 Mark. What are you telling, hindsight being 2020, with what you know today, what are you telling 2017 Mark? Stop fiddling.
I've got 1,000 ideas that cross my mind every day, Christian, and every one of them can seem, important and urgent, but they're not. So figure out a plan, stick with the plan, and then just pursue it. And when I look back, that's what has helped us grow. Scott Hurt on our team told me one time, I asked him for his feedback. Scott will give you good feedback like that. And I don't know if he used the word fiddling, but it's pretty much like that. Like tinkering. I think he said, quit tinkering.
Tinkering, yeah.
Have a plan. Commit to it. And you're going to love the trip in 8 years to France.
Exactly.
That's right.
I love that. Mark, one thing we do on the show is every guest we have come on, we like to ask, is there a particular nonprofit they feel connected to or want to give a shout out to? Because part of our show, we give a small gift to that nonprofit of your choice. So as a give back and as a thank you for being on the show. So the question is, Mark, is there a certain nonprofit that you'd like to recognize that we could make a small contribution to?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely, Taylor. So my wife, Catherine is on the junior board for the Children's Hospital at VCU.
Right. Yeah.
She's done that for a number of years. It is a phenomenal organization. They serve, I think, about 80,000 patients per year.
Yeah.
Wow. They do an incredible job. And the facility down there, is top tier. It's new, it's fresh. The staff there, the things they do for these kids who just very unfortunate situations is pretty incredible. And so it's a wonderful organization. It's here in Richmond. They can use funds. They allocate the funds prudently. And we'll continue to support that organization, I think, for the foreseeable future. So,
yeah. Heck yeah. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
To wrap up, a couple fun questions. If you weren't doing finance, what would you be doing? You can't do anything in the finance profession. What would you be doing, you think?
I would, for a living.
For a living.
Yeah.
I'd have to earn money doing it.
You would have to earn money doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to earn a lot of money, but, you earn an income doing it.
Probably marketing.
Cool.
Okay.
I think helping other business owners market their business. And, would it be in finance? I don't know. If I can't do finance, I could probably find another profession. I think marketing is very interesting. I think the more I learn about our clientele and what their needs are and what their desires are, and then how to fulfill, those needs, it's all tied into marketing. Yeah. I think it's a fun area. So maybe in another life.
Yeah. It's kind of like the psychological aspect of finance is similar in the marketing side, right?
Yeah.
Trying to understand
That's right.
people and their behaviors.
Yeah.
And, so maybe you'd be in, psychology or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know that they'd walk out any better, quite frankly. But,
you could do it on a group of people. It doesn't have to be a person.
Yeah.
Any specific restaurants that you love in Richmond? Like that you'll go on date night to, or one or two restaurants that you're a big fan of?
Well, I mean, Buckhead's is awesome.
Yeah.
It's close by. It's been there forever. It's rare that you'll find a really good restaurant and the type of building they've got there.
Yeah.
But, you go in there, the food's amazing, the bartenders are amazing. It's just a wonderful spot. So we'll do date nights there. Conejo is amazing. Yeah. They've got wonderful cocktails. The food there is incredible. We go there all the time as a family, bring the kids there. So those are two big ones.
What's your favorite? What do you like?
I mean, that's a good question. Like because we live very close to Conejo as well. So we frequently will kind of hit that up as just like an easy choice near us and things like that. So we're kind of on that same train. Anything Mexican we like to try and do. It seems, we like a lot. Yeah.
Pinky's was good.
Pinky's, yes, for me, especially with all my gluten allergies and things like that. Pinky's is great in terms of that too. So.
I haven't been to Pinky's.
It's great. It's in Scott's Edition.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they opened during COVID.
Yeah, it's where the old urban farmhouse used to be in Scott's Edition, if you remember. So I feel like they've been around for maybe 4 years. Yeah, maybe four years, I'd say at this point.
Yeah, I think 21 maybe, give or take.
Before I had kids, so and my oldest is 4. So probably around there. Yeah. It's a good spot. Mark, what are something you and the family like to do just in Richmond, free time? What does that look like?
Yeah, sure. I mean, be on the water.
Yeah.
We can get to the Northern Neck. Just something about getting there. There's zero stress. It all goes away when you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And so that's our favorite. I think if you asked everyone in the family, they would say the same.
Northern Neck.
That's the Northern Neck of Virginia.
Nice.
Lancaster County.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Yep.
That's for what, hour and a half from here?
Yeah, no, depending upon which way you go. For us, it's an hour 45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being on the water. That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Mark, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
Greatly appreciate it. Lots of great leadership insights, so greatly appreciate it.
Thanks, Taylor.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Christian.
you being on.
Nice to meet you.